Susan Weatherby. So she's also a director with us, and we prepare this event. So I'm very grateful to her for that. And then also my newest, which is busy earning his keep right now in the back, was Martin Huberty. And so we're really grateful to have him on the board as well. And yeah, see, he earned his keep. He earned that. We make everybody earn these positions here. All right. So with that being said, I would love to hand it over to my vice president, and she's going to share a couple things as well.
Welcome. So I do want to take a moment. Thank you for coming. It means a lot to us. We appreciate it. And I would like to introduce a few dignitaries that we have. Dana Jorgensen, who is here from Senator Borges' office. Dana. Ben Stalker, Supervisor, District 5. Ed. Guino, who is our economic community economic developer. That is a lot to say. Oh, great. Our new CEO. Lisa Eads. Where is she? There she is. Welcome, and I hope I didn't miss anybody.
And Mayor, oh man. It might be me.
Oh, man.
It might be me. I apologize. And Mayor Alvin Brolio. We also have, anyway, and then we also have Derek Kirk here, who you guys probably saw the flyer. He is from the Governor's Office of Business. We have Abby Browning, who just walked in from the California Office of Emergency Services. You're going to sit right here by Derek. He's been so excited to see you.
Awesome.
Great. Well, this event really would not be possible, and all the oopsie daisies that we are having during this event is not because of them, but we are so grateful to Dignity Health. And Dignity Health, Mark Twain Medical Center, has been so integral in so many community groups in this county. We obviously know they're one of the biggest, I think they are the biggest healthcare provider in the US, but they are so essential to so much, not even just for the chamber, but to the community in general. And so we're really grateful to them. Something okay, we're gonna try this. Something that I am so grateful to Dignity Health for is every day when I drive by and I see human kindness. And I think that's such a critical component that we need to focus in on right now more than ever, because human kindness is really what's going to help us survive through this coming on 2-year pandemic that we've had. And so I want to give a special thanks to them, not only for just sponsoring this event, but for really being so resilient from everything, being a hospital, being first responders to the pandemic and so many other issues that we faced in this county. So we are very grateful for them. We are also really grateful to our chamber sponsors, because I wouldn't be here, Heidi wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them. And so we are really grateful for them because they keep the lights on, they keep us plug in every day. And so we are very grateful for those sponsorships as well. With that being said, I was hoping we could ask Mark Lester to come up, and he's going to lead us in a Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mark. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Well, those of you who are joining us virtually, thank you so much for joining us. We just got done sharing that this year we get to continue to do things a little bit differently, and that includes we're doing a hybrid version. So we do have a select group that's here that was participating initially, and we are so grateful for them, but we are socially distanced and we are hanging out kind of far apart, but we wanted you to still be able to join us and to hear from the speakers that we have this evening. So with that being said, I did want to introduce our first speaker, and I had the privilege of meeting him. So Kathy Guino actually gave us the intro. Office of Business, and the chamber has a little bit of a history with them since Isabel Guzman was formerly there, now with SBA, and she interviewed us for the podcast, so we got to highlight a few businesses here in Calaveras through the Made in California podcast, so we got to have some connections there, but Derek came over to do a tour and really get to know the business community here and see how economic development was happening in our county. And so we are so grateful because he does represent our area with the Governor's Office of Business, and we wanted to give him the chance to share on behalf of the state level. So with that being said, Derek Kirk, we would love to have you come up and share.
Thanks so much. And I love the pivoting concept. I think we've all said that word probably far too many times over the last year, but we'll continue to do it. And I appreciate the introduction. So good evening, Calaveras County. As was mentioned, my name is Derek Kirk, and I am the Regional Business Development Specialist for the Greater Sacramento and Central Sierra regions for the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development. I want to start by thanking Morgan and the Calaveras County Chamber of Commerce for inviting me to speak with you all this evening, and for the event sponsors, including Dignity Health. As a recovering chamber CEO myself, I always enjoy these types of opportunities to engage with the community and for all of us to learn together about the ways that we can support one another. The Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development, or GOBIZ, because every state agency has to have some sort of fancy acronym, serves as the state of California's leader for job growth and business assistance efforts. We are a fairly new and fairly small state agency made up of professionals in business development, zero emission mobility technology, small business development and advocacy, international affairs and trade, tourism, film, community investments, and infrastructure financing. Together, we represent economic development in the 5th largest economy in the world. In 2019, Governor Newsom launched the Regions Rise Together initiative, meant to ensure that communities in the inland parts of California, such as here in Calaveras County in the Central Sierra, the Central Valley, Central Coast, North State, and Inland Empire, receive the support that you all need to promote inclusive economic investment and a sustainable economic future. Thanks to this transformational initiative, our office was able to grow our very small team to create regionally based positions. People who live and work across the state to serve as the state's liaison to all of you and the voice of all of you back in our office. We work with a vast network of partners across the state, including Morgan and Kathy and others across the region, to offer a variety of services, including no-cost consultation for incentive navigation for companies that are looking for tax credits or grant programs. We offer site selection services, regulatory or permitting compliance assistance, foreign direct investment and export assistance, and more. Now, this is usually when I say that in 1986 at a press conference, then President Reagan said, the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. And while I promise I never thought that I would say this, I am from the government and I really am here to help you. I've been with the state for about a year after growing up in Tulare County in the Central Valley, going to school and working in San Diego and Orange County and San Luis Obispo in the Central Coast and now in Sacramento. I work with a dedicated team of colleagues who work every day to ensure that you all, as public agency representatives, as business representatives, as individuals in the community, have the resources that you all need to be successful. As Morgan mentioned, I came a month or so ago to travel through Calaveras County with her and Kathy with Martin on a bus. That was the best part, right? We like drove around on a bus and got to see like every single community in the county and learn. I got to learn. We stopped at the grocery outlet. We stopped at businesses and we learned. I had the best corn nuts on the way home, thank God. I got to learn from all of you about the experiences that you're having and the challenges that you're having. And I take that information back to our office. We don't act quickly every day, but I promise that we do act. Over the last year, we have all experienced an incredible opportunity to remember how to link arms as neighbors, to show each other human kindness, and to support each other in life, business, and more. I'd like to share an update on some of the successes that we had as a state and share about some of the upcoming programs that we're working to roll out. While our small businesses were incredibly impacted over the last year, one of the most popular programs that the state was able to roll out was the Small Business COVID-19 Relief Program, ran by the Office of the Small Business Advocate within COBIS. Thanks to the governor and the legislature, we've invested $4 billion into this program, and it's the largest small business relief grant program in the nation. I'm thrilled to share that in the first 6 rounds of the program, and there will be 9 in total, 213 Calaveras County businesses have received approximately $2.5 million of grants due to the impacts of COVID. The last round for new applicants opens tomorrow and will be available through September 30th. So if you haven't been able to participate in that program yet, I highly encourage you to visit our website and apply. As well, thanks to the recently passed state budget, we're creating several new programs that I want to highlight for you all today, including one that I'm particularly excited about, a new program known as the California Venue Operators Program to support live venue operators. And I don't know about you, but I am looking forward to going back to live venue events. That program will support businesses based on their 2019 revenue and provide grants of up to $25 million. It's an incredible fund that we're very excited to roll out. In partnership with the federal government and the State Small Business Credit Initiative, California will be investing over $800 million into the state Small Business Loan Guarantee Program at iBank and into the California Capital Access Program in the Treasurer's Office. These are 2 programs that are meant to ensure that small businesses across California and in every community of California have access to the financial resources that they need to start, grow, and to continue operating. We're also rolling out 2 programs that are meant to support regional and community-based economic development. And while still very high level at this point in their life cycle, I want to reference to you that as if you will, a continuation of the Regions Rise Together initiative, the state's investing $600 million into a community economic resilience fund to work with local agencies and local governments on a regional basis to ensure that we have strong and sustainable economic development strategies, and that we can invest in shovel-ready and shovel-worthy projects that many of our communities have been looking to invest in for a long time. Coupled with that program at the Housing and Community Development Agency is the Regional Early Action Planning Program. The state's invested $500 million to ensure that the infrastructure for housing and community development is there and able to be accessed by local governments. We're also continuing existing programs such as my favorite, the Boost program at the Strategic Growth Council. It's a program that helps under-resourced communities address climate change and cohorts local governments together to ensure that they can share knowledge and have the access together to understand the programs that they can use, again, to address climate change. There are also several tourism programs that have been funded again, 68, which was passed by the voters a few years ago at the Department of Parks and Recreation. creation. In addition to these programs pouring through the budget, though I'm sure that you all aren't as nerdy as I am, I found myself many nights with the Control F function on my keyboard, searching random words in the state budget to see just all the programs that there are. But in addition to those programs, we funded a variety of new and existing programs to support workforce development across the state. From retraining efforts, custom-built in businesses, to enhancing the offerings of the community colleges and state universities, we are working diligently to align the future of work and the needs of businesses today. Running parallel with these incredibly impactful programs, I want to acknowledge that our office and the state have an incredible partnership with our friends in the federal government. Of note, at the moment, we're working diligently with the U.S. Economic Development Administration to ensure that as much of the $3 billion in recent programming that the federal government rolled out from the American Rescue Plan Act comes to California as we can get. There remains unprecedented opportunities for the state and federal governments to support communities like Calaveras, and we are working to align our efforts more and more every day. Lastly, I want to recognize that many communities across the state today are experiencing an unprecedented fire season. Our office is deeply engaged with our friends at Cal OES and with the brave women and men at Cal Fire as they work to prevent and save communities from the devastating effects of wildfires. As a department, it's our job to look at a variety of ways to support business growth as a means for forestry to further forestry management. In partnership with the Governor's Office of Planning and Research, we're launching a new pilot program known as Cal Frame. Again, everybody has to have an acronym. To fund 5 pilot programs across the state to look at woody feedstock aggregation on public and private lands, leading to long-term feedstock aggregation for businesses. We believe that as we look together to ensure that this initiative moves forward, it will be a core driver to support new businesses and will help private property owners have the support that they need to clean up their properties and lead them to becoming safer and less expensive, as I heard many times in the community with reference to the insurance costs. I'm very excited that one of those pilot projects is taking place right here in the Central Sierra, with counties including Alpine, Amador, Calaveras, Tuolumne, and Mariposa. Later this year, our office will also be onboarding a new wood product investment specialist to directly support communities and businesses in this space. I want to leave you all with a commitment from myself and our team to support you in any way that we can. Your success is our success, and we're dedicated to ensuring that we are working for and with you. Every one of my counterparts across the state came from working in or on behalf of local government, and we still keep that really true and close to our heart. We know that the work that you all are doing is critically important. And I'll tell you that the reason why I was so eager to take my job is because our office and the administration take a very locals-up approach to ensuring and recognizing that you all know the programs and the initiatives that work best to support in your local community. So thank you again, Morgan, and to the Calaveras County Chamber, and thank you all so much for your partnership.
But that being said, you should be straight now. I apologize, and we will get things better there. So thank you so much, Derek. And I will say, the chamber, we are a business too, and we are not immune to the challenges that happened this last year, and so we actually benefited from the California relief grants. And so I would highly encourage those of you, if you have not had an opportunity to do that yet, the 9th round is coming up, opening tomorrow. Wow. So that's a good one too. And so please, contact us and we can help, connect you to the right spot. And, but if you can, please take advantage of the funding that's available to you. So thank you for sharing there. All right, well, I have to share, so the next speaker that we have, I got to have a number of conversations with. He's our chair supervisor this year, Ben Stopper, and it is so amazing and refreshing to be able to speak with someone in leadership here that is so business focused, and love having the chance. He also sits as an advisor to the Chamber Board, which we are greatly appreciative to. And it's so phenomenal to hear someone that always is concerned about what about our businesses? What about our businesses? And I know that people feel the impact of that. And so with that being said, I did want to invite up our Chair Ben Stopper from District 5.
Thank you, Morgan. Excuse me, just so I'm not muffled. But first of all, thank you for the introduction, Morgan. I want to thank Derek Kirk for his speech. He's been engaged with us through the Central Sierra Economic Development District. We appreciate your time, your dedication, and your work for the people in Calaveras County and our surrounding communities. Derek, that's really appreciated. You know, Morgan introduced the dignitaries tonight. We appreciate that, but something we need to say that we appreciate is the Chamber Board and Morgan and her administrative assistant, Heidi Castle. Thank you, Cheryl Hope, President. Sherry Roosh, Vice President. Mark Luster, Past President. Sanja Harris Langen, Secretary. Derek Gillespie, Treasurer. Excuse me if I butcher any of your names. I'll attribute it to my Calaveras education. Maureen DiNicenzo, Scott Clan, Susan Weatherby, CJ Singh, and last but not least, Martin Hubbardy, our newest member of the Calaveras Chamber of Commerce. We appreciate all the work you do for Calaveras County in supporting businesses. Thank you. And I'll get to it, but I also want to thank Abby Browning for coming from Cal OES. There's a lot of work we do with Cal OES that's very valuable to us, and hopefully we don't need you soon, right? Which is the best. No call from OES is a good call. Yeah. But we appreciate when you do call. And also, Alan, good to see you always. Mayor of Angels Camp and rivals to my high school. So. Good afternoon, Calaveras County and visitors. You know, we thank everyone that has showed up tonight. You know, I am here tonight to make a state of the county, to talk about our successes, our trials and tribulations, and our responses to those trials and tribulations. When I think of the trials and tribulations, I think of a few things: natural disasters, such as fires and floods, which in the overall picture, we have been very fortunate this year. One, no rain, unfortunately, so no floods. And the other is, you know, we have to thank our local fire agencies and CAL FIRE for being responsive in the way they have, doing a strong job in Calaveras County and the surrounding areas. A lot of communities are not as fortunate as us. We're lucky this year. We went through the Butte fire. We know what that feels like. So, you know, we thank for the good things when we don't have to deal with these certain types of disasters. You know, I think about updating implementation of the general plan and streamlining and honing our permitting processes with the building department when it comes to economic development. This gives a clear path on how people can proceed in our county, which we made strides and advances in last year's, which I will come up to here later in my speech. And finally, the effect of COVID on our economy and our response to it. As a supervisor, I'm elected into a nonpartisan position, and I pride myself on navigating. Let me change my page. So I want to keep this speech straight for once. Navigating my votes and positions while working to maintain my nonpartisan position. sometimes we make a vote and some people cast us in one partisan side or another, but this isn't always the case as we're making the vote that we think is best for Calaveras County. Sometimes that puts us in a partisan position, not the intent. Which brings me to COVID, an extremely politicized virus, unfortunately. In the last year, we've experienced some extreme changes in Calaveras County due to the coronavirus. First, I want to say our hearts go out to everyone that has experienced a loss due to COVID-19. Economically, restaurants, retail, and other businesses deemed non-essential took hits financially initially during the pandemic. And later on, as we shut down as the roller coaster of the pandemic has been with spikes. There was relief through the state loans and grants and through federal loans and grants. Not everybody was able to navigate this process properly. So we had a few losses, which is unfortunate. And they're strong, good people in our community. We want to do everything to support them. There were some unexpected effects caused by the shutdowns of COVID-19 during the pandemic. This is something I call somewhat of a black swan, a rarity that none of us expected to see a black swan land in our part of the next to us. This event created somewhat of a migration that I like to call the easterly migration. Some moved out of state from rural areas in our county, but more so people from the Bay Area and other large cities tended to migrate to our area from basically from urban areas. We're naturally social distance up here, not that that's any preventative cause. We're still subject to COVID. But this created an inflation on our housing prices. We don't have enough product on the shelf when it comes to homes in Calaveras County. So, our housing values have gone up significantly. TOT tax is up from fiscal year 2019-20 from $1,473,119 to 2021 at $1,743,495, which is almost an 18% increase, which is of $270,000. And I'm just going to say change. We had a substantial higher amount of people visit and stay in Calaveras County. We have rural areas. When people were shut down in the cities, we have places you can visit, lakes, streams, and everything. It was a hit on our forests. And our forest management, Stanislaus was having to remove a substantial amount of trash and provide more services in our forests. We had a run on places like natural bridges where it's not just to say that people inside our county do this, but a lot of visitors aren't conscientious and they leave a lot of trash in our area, which is a negative effect. At the same time, we saw a positive one when it came to the businesses, the money they spent while they were traveling through. Sales and use tax is up from fiscal year 2019-20, which was $3,613,000 and change, to 2021 at $4,395,000 and change, for an increase of 21.6%. $781,850. Sorry, my apologies. $781,815. That's a big chunk for us. We're a small rural county. We aren't rich. That's significant to the things we can actually do from the general fund for our county. There's other aspects of our funds that affect our economic development that also I'll bring up here in a minute. Many aspects of business did better during the last fiscal year of the pandemic, while others saw losses. We also have an unemployment, or not an unemployment issue, an employment issue.
Many jobs remain open and are not filled. A sign at Roundtable reads, hiring starting at $17 an hour. Part of this is due to the affordable housing or workforce housing. With housing prices going up, it is a seller's market. This means fewer rentals and the ones left with rent being raised. This is not affordable to people at opening level jobs. So the people that are actually servicing us throughout the county are moving away or not able to afford to be in. Lost my place. All this comes with a warning. We're not through the pandemic yet. The Delta variant surges. Our hospital has more admitted to intensive care than we've had throughout the pandemic. Thank you, Dignity Health, for your dedication to our community. We appreciate it. Strides forward under Doug Archer, their CAO, and there's a lot of good people I've met with Dignity Health that we really appreciate all you do for our community. We are open. Uh-oh, did I hit something? Hello? I'm not going to be able to keep this for 15 minutes. My apologies. I don't know. I need to touch something. It's not gonna last long. Okay. Yeah, it didn't last long at all. Do you want me to stand up closer to where it's going to? No, it's a battery thing that we're aware of. It's wait. No worries. Can the phone hear me? Okay. Yeah, no, I can project my voice. My wife tells me to turn it down constantly. She's a wise woman. We're not, this warning is we're not through the Delta variants is surging. If the current trend continues, the state will be moving to be more restrictive. I don't have a crystal ball, but if I was a betting man, I would put my money on around September 15th. Yeah. So with that, we all carry responsibility to our neighbors and our businesses to keep our doors open and businesses thriving. As a supervisor that has fought to keep businesses open, has voted not to fine businesses or revoke business licenses, but supported a educational approach in bringing businesses into our fold to better our community. I am asking everyone to take responsibility for themselves. Do what you can to stem the spread of the coronavirus, to keep businesses open, mask up in the proper setting and social distance, get vaccinated when able. I understand there are views on vaccination. My wife and I have opposing views. I'm lucky she is still around. Last month, my immediate family had serious battle with COVID. I can attest to this Delta variant being brutal. I coughed until I lost my voice. I was on fever reducers and I was still at 103.8 degrees Fahrenheit temperature. This scrawny guy doesn't have anything to lose when it comes to weight, and I lost my anything. Weeks and I still have very low energy. My wife was equally sick, and my daughter, thank goodness, only had mild symptoms for a week. I had gone in to get my vaccine, the J&J one and done, on a Wednesday. No fault of the vaccines, I got sick on Thursday. If it would have alleviated how sick I had gotten and I had an opportunity to go back, I probably would have gotten my vaccine earlier. But that's that's my perspective and my choice. I know people in the ICU currently because of the Delta variant. I have lost family to COVID. If able, please, for your own health, get vaccinated. It's important. So with that, I'm going to move beyond COVID. Been asked to talk about the general plan. It's been a couple of years since we passed the general plan, but implementation is a major part of the general plan moving forward. Earlier this last fiscal year, I don't remember the date right off the top of my head, we passed the land use map. And staff with the planning department continues to implement that. There's a lot of steps when it comes to implementing the land use plan. We've had some holdups. We're still looking for a new planning director to replace Peter Mauer. And you know, we have to be patient because we're never going to find another Peter Mauer who's one of a kind. He's irreplaceable. But hopefully we can find someone good that's adequate in doing the job moving forward, implementing our general plan. There's a lot of things that the general plan has to do with when it comes to business. But I've also been asked about water rights for this speech. And as Calaveras County, the county doesn't really hold water rights itself. The respective districts, Calaveras County Water District, Calaveras Public Utility District, Utica, own those water rights themselves and are responsible for retaining those water rights. But one of the things that the State Water Resources Control Board brought up in 2014 was, you know, as we move forward with recertifying our water rights, we bear the burden of proof of need to be able to retain those that are not pre-1914 water rights. Part of that burden of proof of need lies within the general plan and it getting finished, which we hadn't done for over 20 years. So we've taken a substantial step in supporting respective water districts and them be able to recertify and retain those water rights as a county. We support retaining the water rights that we have in Calaveras County. We have many challenges moving forward. We have potential fires, PSPS events, rolling blackouts. I mean, we live in California. We're lucky we don't have to deal with tornadoes generally, but they do happen. And we're lucky that for the most part, we don't have to deal with hurricanes. So there's two that we don't have on the list. We have a substantial amount on the list here that we deal with. So we coordinate with the state, our CAO, along in conjunction with our head of OES, John Osborne, consistently call the state, and the state's been more than helpful in answering questions and how to move forward through the processes, because you know there's no easy way to move forward in the process in the event of a disaster. So we really appreciate how well the state's worked with us and moving forward and honing our skills and being able to deal with this on our own. Something that Calaveras County has moved forward on that I'm very proud to say. It's nothing that's done, but I feel this is as important as the general plan, the strategic plan moving forward for our county. You know, our roadmap as how we want to move forward with our county, our expectations, our goals, you know, and how do we meet those? The county's talked about this for years. We put forward a special committee with Amanda Fullendorf and Jack Mindy on it. They moved forward, and we're actually looking at pulling help out from RCRC and possibly subcontracting to bring in a facilitator on a strategic plan. Because overall, we're all going to put our feet to the ground and we're going to grind out the work, but not necessarily all of us have the experience on how to get it right. And we want to do this right and take the time to get it right so that when we have this roadmap done, when someone replaces me, hopefully in 8 years down the road, they have a map on how they want to move forward with their perspectives or their views and everything. So, you know, this will help out everyone, even in the future. Great steps moving forward. Something else I want to talk about is the building department. You know, sometimes bureaucracy can be painfully slow, but something I've been working on ever since I've been in, and, you know, I've been talking about since long before I was board member was, you know, organizing the building department, streamlining the permit process, and doing it in a timely manner that facilitates like good customer service to our contractors in Calaveras County. Doug Oliver has instated Track It, which is a system that we can, you know, people can get on from outside the county, see where their permit is, where it is at in the process, and a potential timeline. And again, we passed updated fees for permitting, and given direction to Mr. Oliver to move forward in a way that he can bring the timelines on these and still get a overview and job done that provides a safe plan for a house that's fire-worthy moving forward. So we're working on it. It's been 3 years. I wish it was done in 2, but it's looking like we're getting there. We're on the brink of having it go down faster. Well, it is going down faster in many aspects, but, you know, more steps to go. Something I didn't bring up in the COVID part when I brought up taxes, the excise tax. The excise tax has gone up by millions of dollars in Calaveras County. We have put forward an ordinance 17.95 for commercial cultivation of marijuana in Calaveras County. This number is nowhere near the number of tax dollars we collected in 2017 after the urgency ordinance was passed. Because the Board of Supervisors put forward something that's moving forward slow, and it's looking like about an average of 35 people put in or actually have put forward a business every year, not an application for a permit, but a finished permit, and are growing. So I think we're right in the vicinity of 70 people in the county in 2 years are commercial cultivating, as opposed to 2016, when we had over 1,100 applications come in for commercial cultivation and over 700 farms that were a half acre large in 2016. So we're moving forward slowly with this. We're doing it right. We moved out of rural residential and put it on larger parcels, so it's outside the tighter knit communities within the county. Not always, a little bit more out of sight, out of mind. So that is not directly impacting people in communities. But this, even with 70, which was even less during the fiscal year last year, we have brought up our excise tax by over $2 million. I don't have the exact number on me right now, but it's moving forward successfully. And it's looking like people are staying compliant and staying within the rules, not being overrun. So I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. And I really appreciate the opportunity from the chamber to be able to talk on state of the county. I want to thank Morgan for making the wise decision to limit it tonight. We need to move forward in a manner that sets an example for the rest of the community on how to move forward. So thank you for that example, Morgan. And thank you, Chamber, for having us here.
thank you, Chair Stocker, so much for sharing that. And apologies for our equipment. We are working on that, and we are really getting good at being flexible here. So I thank you guys here that are present for joining us in this practice. And we're actually going to take a little break. So please don't go away. We are going to tweak our equipment because we are having some technical difficulties. So please bear with us. So if you're watching us online, apologies, but hold tight. Go take a bathroom break, go grab a beverage, and join us back here in 5 minutes.
Did they miss out my whole second half of my speech? Or with the
Okay. Well, I will do a quick little plug because our lovely live attendants that we have here get to enjoy some treats. So we have beverages all the way from we have wines to we have Olive Crush provisions. Did a fantastic spread. Was it good, everybody?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So Christine and her team over there did a phenomenal job at appetizers. So I would highly recommend it. They're pre-portioned and very easy to work with. And then we also have Moe's Devil Food also featured with some sweet treats. So good. I'm glad you guys are enjoying that. And I will say, all three of those names happen to be chamber members too. Wow, imagine that. I know, even better yet, right? We are so grateful to membership. And I'll just say really quickly, you know, I probably get asked all the time, and I should ask Derek because I'm sure he was used to this question too. What's the Chamber of Commerce? What do you do? Are you part of the county? And I get that a lot, and hey, that's okay. Now, where it's challenging is if the county person asks me that. No, I'm just kidding. They don't, no one from the county asks me that. But the Chamber of Commerce, we are a membership organization, and we are the businesses that we represent. So it is our role, it's our mission to help support advocacy and sustainability of not just the businesses, but our community in general. So we care very much about Calaveras. We don't represent, although our physical location is across the street here in San Andreas, we represent all the way from West Point to Dorrington to Copper to Burson. We represent it all. And so we are so grateful that we do get to represent such a resilient community. And if I have ever gotten to see the beauty of that resilience and the stick-to-itness, it has definitely been shown and demonstrated over the last 2 years. And so I do want to commend, I mean, obviously, I care very much about our chamber members primarily, and so I'm grateful for that. But even in general, I've had the opportunity to meet so many phenomenal businesses in this county that have not only just persevered despite it, but they've done better and they've given more. And I think that is something that will be remembered for decades to come. And I hope through their business lasting decades to come as well. So with that being said, I would like to introduce our next guest speaker. And he's going to move a little bit because we are really good at pivoting. And it is Mayor Alvin Brolio and Angels Camp. And he's going to come up and share with us. And, you know, it's so amazing having a city partnership and a county partnership because there are so many talented people that care so deeply about business community. And obviously that's where I lean towards. But when you get to have conversations with these people that you're hearing speaking off the line and not recorded, and they're just so passionate about that support, and it's just evident that it's in their DNA, that shows you that truly they're phenomenal human beings and great leaders. And I will say, John Maxwell has a saying that leadership is influence. It's nothing more, nothing less. And I think more so now than ever, leadership, we need to be those influencers. We need to represent, we need to avoid the polarization and show that we love and we support and we care across the aisle, across the beliefs, and more than anything, the humanity is what's going to carry us through. And so with that, I would like to invite Mayor Alvin Brolio to come up and share.
Good evening, everyone. So for starters, I'd like to thank the Chamber for having the city and myself to speak. I appreciate it very much. And I'm just gonna kind of jump in, and I'm fairly new to this. So I'm gonna start off with a little bit about myself. And I'm gonna use a hashtag that my wife has come up with, the Brolio5. So it's made up of my wonderful family, my wife Cody and my 3 boys. Austin 17, Daniel's 13, and Tony's 10, and myself makes up the 5th. I've been on the council for roughly the past 3 years, and I've been a mayor of Angels Camp for about a year. My family is very strongly, or a multi-generational family from here in Angels Camp and surrounding areas. I attended Mark Twain Elementary, attended Brecker High School, go purple. That's I went to Modesto Junior College after that and got my AS in animal science. And then I even got a culinary degree and went into the restaurant business a little bit and decided that's crazy. And got out of that fairly quickly. So I then moved up to Auburn and worked in an electrical supply house. And they had another branch in Sonora. So I got transferred over there and I met my lovely wife there. And we started our family there. So that was a great place to work. I did customer field orders, purchasing, all sorts of stuff there. And when I was there, I also was approached by Calaveras Telephone and offered me a job. So I went to work Calaveras Telephone roughly 14 years ago now. And I've been there ever since. I started off doing install and repairs, install your DSL, your phone, that type of stuff. And I've moved up now to assistant general manager and purchasing agent. So I don't foresee me going anywhere. It's a wonderful family business, and I see their sponsor on the backside. I'll give a plug over here too. But they're a wonderful company to work for, and I appreciate them very much. As I stated earlier, my family is pretty deeply rooted in Angels Camp and surrounding community. My grandfather, Alvin, helped start the Angels Gun Club. My dad was a captain on the Angels Camp Volunteer Fire Department when that existed a few years back. My mother's on the cemetery board. My wife is the Bret Hart High School football boosters president. And there's many more things. This community is a wonderful place. As their grandparents, their parents, play on the same football field, raise animals, go to 4-H, they go to the county fair. It's pretty amazing. Even to watch my oldest son now coach at the AMA Youth Football League that he was just playing at not too long ago is pretty amazing. And then to keep this community service going. So I'm really enjoying being on the city council a lot. I'm learning more and more every day and how to better my community also. So the City of Angels, we've got a plan and we're getting on the same page. This was a secret to us being successful over the past few years. We set goals. We follow the city planning, knowing where we are and where we're going is some of the priorities we set that help us be successful. Here's some fun facts about our founder. So small read, I'll bring them here. Henry Pickney Angel, our founder. Funny enough, his middle name is Pickney, means settlement, village, or town. So Angels was Henry's destination. Today, it's our leadership, our destiny to define our legacy. We will go over this a little later more, but our streets, our walkways, our parks, our public safety center, our campus, I hope will be our legacy in the next coming years. Angels, here's another interesting little fact. Angels Camp did not suffer greatly through the Great Depression due to the productive gold mines, which kept the gold ore kept prosperous. Through COVID 2020, the city remains fairly prosperous. We have survived through tough times. So this just shows we have overcome tough issues before, and we're doing it now. The city is remaining prosperous during these unprecedented times. And this last fact is one that I find a good one, is great. Grandma Roleri, from 1843 to 1927, the Calaveras Hotel. She took everyone under her wing, and everyone loved her. No one was ever turned away, and all people were her friends. She was a friend to all people. Angels Camp, in Angels Camp, there have been angels, and she was one of them. She lived there. She was one of them. Our history is our kindness to be an example. And our community is an amazing community. And like I said, this one really speaks to me because we have amazing people. A few examples, the Bret Hart Little League needed a new roof on their snack shack. One of the local roofing companies came and put it on free of charge. A family is in need. There's softball tournaments out at the AMA field. There's dinners that people do to raise money to help and raise those families up. I've seen firsthand a family that couldn't afford to buy tires, and they were bought for them. So it's just an amazing, beautiful place to live in, and kindness and helping each other is what this community is all about, in my opinion. Then we kind of move into Citygate, which was a strategic plan we got in 2018. An organizational and financial assessment, a baseline for where we've been, and determine where we go. It provided a 5-year action plan, helping the city win and keep us on track and get on the same page with results and tied in the data. The Citygate report and plan was adopted in 2018 during my first year there. This was a basis for our strategic leadership over the past 3 years. The study showed us where to go as a city and where we needed to be. This kind of gave us a reality check, getting this report back and implementing it. The reality check was a crucial moment since the time of 2008. The city had not recovered, despite 10 years of staff reduction and budget cuts. The city had 2 options, basically: survive or die. There was nothing in the middle. The fiscal cliff was pretty certain in 2 to 3 years in 2020. We are past that date now. And we fought very hard to be where we are today, and we will touch on that in just a bit, some more. Staff was 77% of the budget. There was no redundant positions. The sheriff was providing part of our patrol because our PD was not fully staffed at that time. So, sheriff department, thank you very much for helping us, and the county helping us do that also, keeping us afloat. So, the staff was unhappy. The city, they didn't see much of the future. There was no tools and equipment. When I first came on, I saw firsthand the public works. They were kind of piecing everything together, from vehicles and tools, but they're an amazing crew and they made it happen for us. So that's much appreciated. And the financial data was inconsistent and deficits were being planned. The city was deficit spending and we were running in the red. So these are some of the other big costs we had not planned on, and we'll kind of touch on these a little more too. We're planning and working on how to deal with OPEB, the building deferred maintenance on our facilities, and the unfunded pension liability. That's our next step. So now we're 3 years later, and in 3 years, we've had 40% of the staff is new within the last 2 years. The new staff is working at a high level and fast-paced to get caught up. Established in the 5-year plan, we increased $750,000 in general fund revenue. This $750,000 was huge and helped us stabilize the city through the TOT and the increase in tax. We met a 3-year general fund reserve target in 2 years. So we put away a lot of money. There was no reserves anywhere. So we put away almost, I think it was $2.5 million in reserves to help stabilize ourselves in time of need. The PD staff, the PD that I mentioned before, is now fully staffed. The fire response meets minimum standards at this moment. Recognize the city's function, and we did a lot of cross training too within, so we could handle things internally. We secured $30 million in infrastructure over the next 5 years. And I'll kind of highlight that in some next coming up slides. We delivered capital projects while maintaining fund balances. We were spending money and saving money in the bank at the same time. We secured grants for public safety campuses. We got a $200,000 award to start our public safety campus. And all of this happened during fires, civil unrest, COVID, water line breaks, day-to-day operations, and audits. So hats off to all the employees of the city. They came together during this tough time to make our city stronger, and that's what our employees did for us. So this next slide is pretty amazing, and I don't know if you guys can read it for a moment, but this is a slide from the California auditors that said we are now in the low risk category for cities. A lot of hard work is put in to get here. Well, let's go off this. So from 2016 to 2018, you're in the yellow, you're in the moderate range. And then from 2018 to 2020, we've now moved into the green range, which is a low risk. So this is an amazing report, and it also does state in the bottom of this stuff that there is all cities must plan for their long-term financial futures. So we still do need to concentrate on the unfunded pension liability, the OPEB, the building maintenance, and that is to come down the road. So next we have the Gateway Corridor study, which is pretty darn good. It's taken 20 years to get this break in access at Foundry Lane. With a strong plan, collaboration, and support with Caltrans, we are hopeful to get this growth in the next year. So the traffic study on Foundry Lane, Caltrans access, Foundry under negotiation, and the 78,000 square foot commercial expansion plan and more is what is hopefully coming to the city of Angels Camp very shortly. What does that mean? The 78,000 square foot expansion could be completed in 3+ years. That will add jobs and help to our general fund balance. The intersection of 4 and 49, Caltrans is going to be helping us and get traffic mitigation, wayfinding, gateway monuments. They're going to spend a lot of money doing them, and I'm very thankful for them. And there's also a plan for a new shopping center behind the old Swinman's Harbor. So Foundry Lane will legitimately, I think, be the growth for City of Angels Camp, that whole access. So the next thing we have going on that's pretty amazing also, there's a lot of good stuff. I'm sorry, I'm saying amazing. Is Caltrans is coming through again with $11.5 million. This is called the Main Street Plan. Construction will begin in 2024. This will go from Bruner Hill all the way down to Angels Camp, to downtown Angels Camp. So basically from Angels Food Market at one end, all the way down to the other end of downtown. This 11.5 million Caltrans is supplying with a beautification project. It's going to help our infrastructure, but also allow us to take a look at how we want. You can't really see on here, but we can choose the trees, we can choose the bark, we can kind of make our own little mark on the way we want our city streets and sidewalks to look. So next is a sustainable future starts with our passion for our people, the city staff. And I'm very thankful for our city staff. Support our workforce. We need to recognize our workforce and the efforts they have made to get us to the point we're at today. And part of that is bringing employees to the market, and employees are our greatest resource. Lead by example, prioritize employee safety, and kindness, grace, give it and get it. We are trying to put our employees first. They are the backbone to our city and to our success. Sustainable future starts with the passion and people, culture, and community. So protecting and preserving our small town feel while growing and improving it at the same time is very important. Our people and community are the heart and soul of this town. Up here, you can't really see it at the moment, but there is a $1.1 million grant here out there for the Angels Creek Trail. This would tie in down to Maloney's. The city purchased 12 acres on Finnegan Lane to make this happen in about a year. This was very exciting for me. I spent a lot of time down at Finnegan Lane Creek, swimming and playing and having a good time. And this will help future generations to have those memories and hopefully stay there and do the same thing. There's also the Utica Park, which is a huge part of our town. We're after a $5 million grant that we have partnered with. The Angels Camp Community Club is the name. Partnering with them could lead to bigger facility, skate park, amphitheater, and upgrading existing structures, and purchasing some more acres down there too. This was my neighborhood park, which makes it really cool. And even some of the members on the community club, my brother John and his wife Cora, they grew up playing. Jeremy Wood and Alicia, they're from there. Jeremy Leonard, all these people have been there for multiple generations, for a long time, and that's their park also. And that's just to name a few that we can about. It takes this type of partnership that we have with this community club to make our community great. us growing up and giving back to the same community that helped us is what's going to make the city a beautiful place to live. There's also, what Ben was talking about earlier, is housing. We are after a $5.5 million infrastructure grant to help with Habitat for Humanity. We'll be bringing 107 homes on 17 acres to our city, hopefully very soon. Here. And that is pretty much the end of my presentation. There's just a lot of exciting projects and a lot of things going on. I would say thank you very, very much to the chamber. Morgan and your team, you guys are awesome. We're good at adapting. We've learned over the last year how to do that. So if anybody has any further questions, please come to city meetings. Contact the city, contact Morgan, I'm sure, contact me. But if you're interested, please come and talk. Thank you very much, and I appreciate it.
Hopefully it turns back on. Okay, well, thank you so much, Mayor Berlio. And there's some cool things happening at Angels Camp, huh? I am very excited about that. And I know he briefly mentioned it, but I know that Melissa, under her control of a lot of the staff and everything in the city, doing a phenomenal job over there. And it's so fun to work with someone that's so spirited and cares so much, not only about businesses, like I said, it's obviously something that I'm gravitating towards, but she cares so deeply about the people of Angels Camp too. And that's such a lovely sentiment. We need more of that. So I want to lay down a little bit, sorry, I know it's a little challenging to hear when we have masks on. The next individual that I met and our last speaker for this evening, I had the privilege of meeting by email, I think first, maybe by phone, I'm not sure. Stacey Johnston, one of my predecessors, told me early on when she was training me, saying that you have to meet Abby Browning. You have to meet Abby. She is salt of the earth and she cares so much. And I mean, she's all the way in Sacramento, but she still cares about little Calaveras. And she was actually here, boots on the ground, when the Butte fire happened. And so she not only is representing and supporting us, but she also was here in our last time of need. And so it's phenomenal that we've been able to continue the relationship. And she's been phenomenal. She was such an aid to us at the chamber in trying to help us get support, but also I will do a plug. We have a large amount of PPE still at the chamber, including N95 masks that she recently just sent over to us. And so if you're a business in Calaveras County, please make sure you are still reaching out to us. We have a plethora of goodies for you to do to protect your staff and your customers as they come in. So I wanted to put that plug in there. But Abby really is a true helping hand. And it's so phenomenal when we have individuals that are working at state level that represent such large territories that when you interact with them, it feels as if she works here in the county with us. And that's what it's been with Abby. In fact, we had Abby last year on our State of the County when Martin and I did a little loop-de-loo tour and did videos. So if you got to see that last year, we went to Sacramento and actually got to be on campus there and hear from Abby. And so with that being said, I'd like to introduce Abby Browning from the California Office of Emergency Services.
So you all have to give me here. I always get very nervous talking to anyone. And when there's a camera on me, I get very nervous. So if I start shaking or pacing, that's why. But just to let you all know. And number one, apologies for coming in late. I constantly misjudge the time. I was going to be Sacramento at 4 o'clock, and then 4:15 rolls around, and then 4:30. I think, okay, hour and a half, that's plenty of time. I get in the car, turn the GPS on, and it says I get here at 6:10. Oh, great. So, apologize for that. I did not mean to show up late. And thank you for the reception, and thank you for inviting me and still welcoming me. Like the commissioner said, I usually don't come in unless it's bad. If you get a phone call from me, you better answer it because it's bad. I don't call unless I have to. And so that's one of those things. But Calaveras County does have a special place in my heart. It's where I cut my teeth, if you will, on disasters. The Butte Fire was my first. And we really started working on economic recovery. Fun fact, some of the programs that Derek rattled off earlier are based off of inspiration from you guys. So the fact that we have grants now instead of loans, because what kind of a business who's struggling to keep the lights on wants to take out another loan? Nobody does. You know, I would be the first to admit, and I'm sure I'm not the last, the government, especially in California, is not the best for businesses. Businesses tend to be on their own. And we like to regulate, but we don't necessarily help the way that needs to be. Just a brief disclaimer, before I worked for the governor, I worked at the California Chamber of Commerce. So you look at my resume, you have no idea what side of the fence that I'm on. I worked with Governor Newsom, I worked with Governor Brown, worked with Governor Schwarzenegger, and now I also work at the Chamber of Commerce. So I'm all over the place. That being said, I strive my best to be nonpartisan. And also the fact that Calaveras County is very, very similar to where I grew up. It's comfortable here. And so I like coming. And so when Morgan asked me, I said, absolutely. What day? And show me what day. I'm like, oh, that should be a nice ride. Didn't realize it was going to be so hot. But, you know, what are you going to do? So, couple of things. Morgan asked me to touch on COVID. Yes, you guys know it's bad. Delta variant, back. We all have stories, unfortunately. It's going to be the thing that 100 years from now, people will read about, and it's the thing that binds us all together. Unfortunately, we have to go through it in order to get to the other side. I think I had COVID in January 2020. So before everybody knew what it was bad. 2 weeks I was out. I went to the ER because I had 103.9 temperature, highest that I've had since I was very, very young. I was out of it. My colleagues were terrified because the governor was rolling out a homeless initiative and asked me to do some research, and I said no. And you know me, I don't say no. I say, let me figure out how to say yes. But on that, the one person in the state that can fire me, I told him no. So I was sick. But having said that, I can relate a little bit, but the fear is what I relate most to, is what's going to happen if my dad gets COVID. He has a COPD, terrified of that. He lives in West Virginia. What's going to happen if my mom gets COVID? She's had triple bypass surgery. I'm terrified that those kind of things are happening. And so I'm very thankful for the way that California, not just the government, but also all of the communities, everyone has responded. We've done quite well, and I'm quite proud. I get to brag to my fellow states about how well we've done. I mean, it's one of those, I have the less hits than you have. It's not the best thing in the world, but we've done well, and we are resilient. California is a disaster state. We have disasters every day. Everyone in this state knows what it feels like to be afraid of a disaster. And every single person in the state stands up, wakes up every day and says, bring it on. Let's do this. Let's live our life. And so I'm very proud to be a part of that. I've been in California for 20 years now. That ages me a bit, but I am proud that California is my second home. And I am very proud to be able to come to rural communities like this that really, really show us what resiliency is. Just a comment on the September the 15th COVID thing. I can promise you this, I am not involved in anything that is coming on. If it does come on, during the last set, March, April, I was heavily involved. I was at Calaveras, very much so. We haven't heard one peep out of any of them. So maybe they're leaving us alone because of the fires, I don't know. But I know that we're all very much sick of COVID and want it gone. And by the way, use those N95s. Absolutely. The reason that I told Morgan to get as many as she did, y'all are gonna have fires, there's no doubt. And there's going to be smoke. So get them, keep them, use them for smoke, use them for COVID. I don't care what you use them for, but they're there, they're free. The federal government paid for them. So take as many as you want. And if she runs out, I can send a couple more boxes to her. So that's not a problem. So, longer time to spend on the fire. You guys know about fires. You know that it's only September the 8th. I was just telling Morgan that the campfire started on November the 8th. So we got some time to really go through it. What's the basic? What do? You know what to do. But let me tell you what I have seen is the most important thing, because firefighters will come in, CAL FIRE will come in, their goal after life safety is to save the towns, to save the structures. They surround it, you see it coming toward town, they put everything they have to try to stop that from happening. But what a lot of people don't realize is you are out of business for a couple of weeks if we're evacuated. Lake Tahoe, South Lake Tahoe, there's going to be so much economic recovery there because they were out of business for a week and a half. Do not have the reserve lights on because they were out of business. They didn't have any customers for so long. It's no fault of anyone's. We were trying to keep them all safe, but that kind of happened. So business continuity is the one thing that nobody ever thinks about, but it's the one thing that will get you through that. In Calaveras County, during the Butte fire, that was one thing that we saw a lot of, is that not that the businesses lost their stock or they lost their structures, it was that they were closed for 2 weeks. And when you don't have revenue for 2 weeks, it's not a good thing. And all we had were loans at that time. And even those loans were not the easiest to get, and they were federal loans. So now we have CalPAT, now we have the Small Business Loan Guarantee Program. All of that is because of this disaster here. And then the grants. So we learned real fast, grants are the way to go. And I can almost promise you that if we have another economic issue in a fire, grants will come available. I used to work before I came at Calaveras, I was at GoBiz. So we're very close. And just a side note, he's very good. You guys got a good one. Because I've heard lots of business investment specialists, and he's good. So take advantage of him. He will help you navigate the programs by all means. And then finally, because I'm casual, and like I said, I thought that I would end by talking about some of the more positive things that came out of our disasters. Because I'm always Debbie Downer. I'm always bringing in, oh, there's going to be a fire. Oh, there might be an earthquake. You know, get under the table. There might be all of these things. And that's true, there might be. But out of the ashes rises the phoenix. And good things always come out of it. So I noticed this, and I saw it coming in. Calaveras Business Resource Center. That's direct out of the Butte fire. That was an EDA grant that they got to develop this. This is a model that I now take to other communities that have fires and say, look, this is what Calaveras did. And it wasn't even the government that did it. The Chamber of Commerce did it. And so others have called, have wanted to talk. What is it? How do we do it? How do we get this done? Is it valuable? What does it do for your businesses? And it's been a great learning experience back and forth on that. Another wonderful thing, and this is a really cool story that happened during the pandemic. So as you know, we have a lot of very wealthy people in California. We have a lot of average people. We have a lot of under the poverty line people, but we also have a lot of extremely wealthy people. You know, the Mark Zuckerbergs of the world. Well, pandemic hit. Mark Zuckerberg's wife is a doctor. So they're like, what can we do? We've got to help our healthcare workers. And so what they did was they wrote a check to the government for $25 million. Okay, great. Well, what do you want us to do with this? There's lots of rules in place about accepting money, how to spend money, how to do this, how to do that, because usually we're dealing with taxpayer dollars, and so it's very careful on how we do this. But here we go. We got this $25 million. It came to Calaveras because we were the only ones that had a fund to accept that because of my office with the private sector. I'm also one of 2 people that are allowed to accept donations on behalf of the state. That's one of those write it in the baby book thing. It doesn't happen. I got to do it a lot, and I called my mom. I'm like, Mom, just accept the $25 million. But what was really interesting about it is we had no way to distribute it. We wanted to honor the donor intent. Donor intent was healthcare workers. Okay, well, that's a very large amount. And 25 million, while it's very much to me, hitting 30 million healthcare workers, it doesn't do a dent. So we're like, okay, well, we got to make this mean something. We got to make this to where the people that need it the most are getting it. So the first thing was, okay, well, who gets it? So we were narrowing it down, worked with the folks over at Facebook, and what we decided on is, at the time, you hear all these stories about the skilled nursing facilities, and you hear about people that are sleeping in their cars because they don't want to take COVID to their families, or they don't want to take it to their patients. These people do some of the Lord's work because they're taking care of people in their most neediest time, and when they cannot take care of themselves, and they're doing it and giving these folks dignity and respect. So we're like, okay, we're going to work on skilled nursing facilities. That's where we're going. Well, there's still quite a few, and we had to narrow it down more. So what we did was we took the 2 classifications that were the lowest wage earners at the skilled nursing facilities. I believe one of them is a certified nurse assistant, and one of them is as an L in it, licensed vocational nurse. And those folks were making very little money, and they were doing this purely for the love of the patients. And we knew that, and we're like, okay, this is what we want to do. These are the people that are going to get it. All right, well, how do we do that? Yeah, just write them a check. You write them a check, and we use state funds, and then it's all crazy. And so then what we did was I picked up the phone and called Lisa. And I said, what do you think about giving me 50,000 gift cards and waiving the fee? And they said, well, what's it for? And I told them, and they said, absolutely. Not only that, but we will pay to mail them individually. So we set up a program on through OSHPD, who all of the certified nursing, all of those categories applied. They were all granted. And at the end of the day, we were able to give out 50,000 gift cards, cool little things that say California Heroes on them. Thank you for your service, for $500 each to these folks. It was the most moving thing I have ever done working in public service. And I cannot tell you, I did tear up when I saw one of the tweets come in saying, thank you to OSHPD, LOES. My mother got her card and she went to the grocery store. I mean, it was one of those things, yeah, it was one of those things that private sector stepped up to do something that we wanted to do, but we couldn't do. You know, whenever we have a disaster, really bad one, we set up, I know this is being recorded, we set up camps. Not allowed to say FEMA camps, but we set up these trailer parks almost, campgrounds, where we bring in the FEMA mobile housing units. And the people that don't have anywhere else to go, that's where they end up. Well, the government can only provide so much. We're only allowed to spend money on utilities, basic utilities. So electricity, sewage, trash, water, that's it. And then we can only provide them like a kit that has essential stuff in it. 4 plates, 4 cups, 4 forks, you know, that kind of thing. And it's just, we gotta do better than that. And so what I do is I blast out this information to my private sector partners, which are all over the country, saying, this is what we need, does anybody want to donate it? And we get sheets from hotels, we get lots of cutlery, lots of really cool cell phone cords. Who would have thought? Apparently hotels have a lot of those. We get really interesting things. We had a situation, I mean, I know this sounds really bad because I'm telling all these depressing things, but we had a situation where someone from the campfire, it was a mother and a son. The son was like 7 or 8. They were living in one of these trailers, and 2 years to almost the day, their trailer burnt. Yeah, it's like, you gotta be kidding me. And it just broke my heart. This little kid, all he has ever known is fire. And so, because I can call on behalf of the government, it's a nice thing to do. The Sacramento Kings, Sacramento Republic, Oakland Athletics, they all poured in the stuff so I could take it up. Well, I didn't take it up, but one of my colleagues did, and give it to this kid, because you just got to have something to look forward to. It's something to enjoy. And so I was told that each game that they went to, the mother and son, they were treated like royalty. And so that kind of thing, we can't do that in the government. Private sector does that, and that's why our partnerships are just so important. But anyway, back to what I was saying about the camps. One thing that the private sector now does is they provide internet for the camps for free for 2 years. That's how long they're supposed to be there. Internet is not considered a utility by the federal government. Doesn't make sense, especially now, since we're all co-working and all this fun stuff, but they don't. And so the private sector steps up, and every single camp that we have, they set up a Wi-Fi that is just for that area. The residents share it, and it's free for 2 years. Something like that, we could never do. But that makes all the difference, knowing that people actually care. And that's one of the reasons why I enjoy going out to the field. I enjoy going and talking to different communities, because you're the ones that care. You know, I am in Sacramento. I am around a bunch of big wigs that all have ideas. But when it comes to doing things and actually standing up and recovering, it's you guys. It's the community that does it. I recognize that, and I like to be around it. So anyway, like I said, very casual, but thank you all. Whenever you have any questions about the government or about any of our programs, Derek is great when it comes to the businesses. Go to him. But when it comes to disaster stuff, if you're trying to navigate our disaster things, you shouldn't have to do that. You can call me, and we will make sure that you get what you need, or at least get you to someone like Derek that can walk you through the process. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank all the beautiful individuals that are in here. I'm so grateful to you, whether it's Durham Insurance, Peakwood Hotel, Toyon Smart Storage, I see you back there, Donna. Hi. We have some amazing individuals. We have grocery outlets. Joel did a little debut earlier. I am so grateful to you who are watching online as well. This is going to be circulating for quite some time because the 4 individuals who shared this evening, they had to give a snippet, and that's really hard to do because if you know them or you work with them, sleeves are rolled out, they're working. I mean, I think Ben's called me like 9 maybe before, late, like you're working all the time. And a lot of us are. And I just wanted to end this evening with something that has really stuck out to me over the course of the last 12 months specifically. I think at the beginning with COVID, I think we had that sense of community and what are we going to do? And it's scary because it's new and we don't know what to do. And so we kind of barred down together and we kind of lost a sense of that. I think that we found some separation and we found some polarization. And that's not who we have to be. At any point, we get to make the decision that, you know what, I'm maybe not going to go hang out on Facebook and troll comments for the next 2 hours. Or maybe I'm not going to call and complain. Maybe I'm not going to berate the staff member that chose to show up to work because virtually every business here is short-staffed. I am going to buy the coffee for the person behind me at Starbucks today. I am going to thank that person because I know she's been standing at that teller as a bank teller for the last 8 hours and had nothing but pain and had nothing but probably frustration. And so I want to challenge us because I know that it's easy to get stuck in the rat race. It's easy to get stuck in the overwhelm. It's easy to get stuck in the Murphy's Law days that we tend to have like today. So thanks for bearing with us there. But we can make the decision to choose better. We, as Abby pointed out, and I don't know if you can see it on the video here, the CBRC was a brain concept post-Butte fire and was an amazing resource. And one of the ways that it still continues to be is through our Choose Calaveras campaign. And each of you here this evening have a Choose Calaveras sticker. And in case you aren't familiar with what the significance of that is, this is not just for chamber members, although it was chamber born, but the Choose Calaveras campaign was put together as a way to say, choose local. And it's not a shop local because very few of the businesses represented in here are necessarily a shopping location. Probably only a couple, actually. But there are a lot of services. And so if you look at the sticker, there's 4 quadrants that are on there. And one of the quadrants that you'll see is a shopping bag. So yes, we do have some great retail, we do have some great shopping, but we also have dining. Dining was a huge piece. In case you didn't know, the chamber and the CBRC were one and the same, but we've visited over 4 dozen restaurants. So we've done restaurant spotlights where the restaurant is not responsible for a single dime to the promotion that we do or the gift card that we buy, but instead we encourage people to come and support the restaurant. So that is one way that we can, because restaurants were one of the most heavily hit. There are a lot of other businesses that we are still looking to see how we can support them outside of the restaurant industry as well. But we also have drinking. So we have phenomenal drinking, lots of wineries. We have Hinterhaus Distillery, our first distillery here in Calaveras. And we have Snowshoe Brewery as well. So it's supporting the drinking because that's a huge drive for our business here and the tourism here. And then lastly, you see 2 hands in the bottom right-hand quadrant. And I get asked that sometimes, what does that mean? And I would say that's probably the largest sector that is represented in this county. And that is the services. So all the way from government that we're so grateful to. It can be frustrating. I know it's a thankless job. And I don't envy that, but also it's our first responders. It is our insurance agents. It is everybody else that hotel service there. Got to get that call out too. There's so much that's there, and so when you see that Choose Calaveras logo, it's something to find pride in and to know that we make the decision that maybe before we go to Amazon, or maybe before we automatically leave the county to go shopping, that we choose to focus on what we can purchase and how we can spend our money local here. I just wanted to leave you with one quote before we end, because I know it's late and I'm ride or die until 9, so I will turn into a pumpkin for sure at 9. But it was funny because as I was listening to a few of you speak, a quote that I have referenced quite a bit over the past 2 years is one that I want to encourage us and leave us with. And it's from one of my faves, Martin Luther King Jr. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So I want to challenge you guys and thank you for representing and coming this evening. But go out and how can you challenge the hate instead by bringing love? And so thank you so much to all of you for coming this evening. Thank you for tuning in. And if you're watching this 2 weeks later, thank you for watching it when you're watching it. But with that, have a good evening, everyone.